back to Hot Topics with the Hots.
Awesome. So today we are going to be talking about who pays for what. Now, I know what you might be thinking. What do you mean who pays? Like when you go out to dinner, who pays? Well, yes, to a degree. We're going to touch on that, but we want to get more in depth on who pays for different aspects in the relationship. Not just going out on dates, but as far even in as when you're married, who's paying for a car or a house, or whose responsibilities are what. So we want to kind of touch on some of these topics today and share our opinions with you and see if you guys have any feedback for us. You can feel free to leave us a comment or send us a message. So Jordan, when we go on a date, who pays?
I'd say it's like 50-50. I guess so the way we do it, if Ivan plans a date, he pays for it. If I plan a date, I pay for it. And so like if we just like go out like right now and we want to get food, or like earlier we kind of like went out and we got some food, he paid for it. I'd say in our relationship it's kind of like a 60-40.
You just said 50-50, but now you switch it to 60-40.
Well, I 50-50 as in like date wise, but if we're just going out, I think it's like a 60-40. Like date as in like, you know, it's 50-50, like I'll pay and then you pay, because like we switch on and off on who's planning the date.
So you think it's that who pays depends on, for us at least, when it's planned and how it's planned. So if it's planned as a date by you, you're paying for it. If it's planned by date by me, I'm paying for it. But on the outside of that?
On the outside of that, if we're just like going out somewhere like randomly, like we're just kind of like, oh, like, well, I'm hungry, let's go get food. Like I'd say it's 60-40 in that case. Like he pays 60% of the time, I pay 40% of the time.
I would have to say that's true. When we're out, I do pay more often than Jordan, but there's several factors that go into that as well. Even on our vacations, when I look at the finances when we get back, I have paid significantly more on some of these trips than Jordan has. That could be for a variety of reasons, such as, you know, the amount of times I'm taking her out or we're going out on a date. But it all really depends on the type of occasion that's going to be going on, I guess we should say. Now, the reason that I take on more of the financial payments is because at the moment, I make more money than Jordan makes. So it's less of a financial burden to me to pay for some of these things than it is for her. So like, if we go out on a date and it's expensive, you know, I don't feel bad after the fact having to pay for it. You know, I like to be conscious of my money. I like to save my money and kind of look at receipts and everything like that and make sure we're getting what we paid for. But I definitely would more often than not be the one handing over my card.
And it's like, I don't have a problem paying. I mean, like, I'm not the person that's like, no, my boyfriend has to pay for everything. Like, I don't care.
Right, because we know people like that.
Yeah. But I'm never that person. I mean, like, I'll offer to pay all the time. Most of the time, Ivan just either gets to it before me, or he's like, you need to put your card away, I'm going to pay for it. Like, don't worry about it. But no, like, I would never make him pay for everything. Like I like to pay sometimes, and I mean it's just like fair to, you know, split the cost of stuff.
And I think that there are some aspects of a relationship that should stay a little bit more traditional on the sense, but as a general gist, things have kind of moved in more of a progressive way. And that being said, it shouldn't only always be up to the guy to pay for everything. I don't believe that's fair at all. And it's not like that with us, which is great. However, I do know some couples where it is like that, but more on the girl side. Girls never want to pay, or I forgot my wallet, or this or that, or every other excuse that you've probably already heard. Some people are like that, but then again, they want to reap all the benefits of, oh, well, I don't want to have to do this, or I don't want to have the normal gender laws. I don't want to have to cook or clean for you. We split all that, but you pay for everything. So a lot of it for some of these younger girls, they only want the rules to change when it benefits them, and that's not really how things should be. I mean, for us, like I said, we don't have that issue, but I've definitely seen that problem amongst friends, amongst strangers even, and I don't think that that's very fair.
When it comes to like bigger payments in our relationship, like as in we're going on a few vacations in the next couple months, like things like that, we do split only because I'm not gonna make Ivan pay for however much of my hotel that I, owe him. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, yeah, well, you have to cover like my $200 that I owe you for the hotel, or we went to Cedar Point. Like, I'm not gonna make him pay for like big stuff like that. Like, that's stuff that we split because like it's only fair to, like,
Right. That's one thing. When we're going out on vacations, unless it's a gift that one of us are giving to each other, personally, I believe it's most fair to split those payments, because those are bigger payments, especially like concert tickets, amusement park tickets, plane tickets. These are like, I don't want to say huge, but they're bigger payments that it would be more unfair for one person to get stuck with the burden of all of that, especially if both people are enjoying the vacation or the amusement park or wherever you're going. To have one person, even if they do make more money, have to pay for all of that unless offered.
Yeah, I was gonna say unless offered, because there definitely are some times when like we'll buy like bigger things and I'm like, no, don't even worry about paying me. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't care.
Right, or vice versa, same thing. But all of our plane tickets, other than the gifts,
we tend to split. Yeah. I don't want to like put that all on him. Like, yeah, we're going on vacation, but like I'm gonna make you pay for all this because like, it's just your job or whatever.
Right. And then that kind of leads us into like responsibilities. So as a boyfriend and as a girlfriend, as I kind of stated, we're moving away from certain gender norms now. But there are still some gender norms that are out there and are more defined. So for us, we kind of have to figure out where we want to draw those lines on who does what.
Yeah, so for us, this is definitely something like we have talked about a lot recently due to the fact that like we are looking into moving out together in like less than a year. Responsibilities, we have talked about like splitting. Who's gonna do this? Like when we move out, like, okay, well, if, you're gonna be like a stay-at-home, like remote job, like, you might have the responsibility more of like letting the dog out or, just keeping up with the house a little bit more because like you're gonna be home, or just, I say like, I'll do like the laundry, you do this, We've talked a lot about splitting kind of chores.
Right. So like for me, if I'm gonna do a chore, whether it's known more as a female task or a male task, if I like to do the task, I don't have a problem doing it. I would rather do the tasks that I like to do. So as an example, I don't mind like cleaning up and making sure everything's organized and in line, sweeping the floors, making sure everything's clean. I'm okay with all that. So like I don't have a problem doing those things in the future. However, I don't really cook, nor do I like to really cook.
I also don't cook. this is where the problem comes into place of, now who's gonna cook when we move out? Because as much as Ivan grew up in a different kind of house than I did, both of my parents cooked growing up. And they didn't teach me how to cook, but like they both cooked. I grew up with my parents being divorced. My dad cooked when I was with him. My mom cooked when I was with her. But Ivan kind of grew up in the house where only his mom cooked. You know, his dad did all like the hard labor and stuff, but like only his mom cooked. So like now going into it, we both have different perspectives on like who's gonna cook.
I mean, and I still think that's one of the gender norms that should stay the same.
But I don't. And I think it's because I grew up in a different household than him. Like, I think we should split it. I mean, yeah, obviously I'm sure I'll end up cooking more, but I think that it's still kind of like a responsibility of him to maybe cook sometimes. Like, for me, I know that I'm not gonna be working from home. Like, I'm gonna have to go out and work. He might have the opportunity of working from home. So for him, it's like, or like, for me, like, I'm kind of like, well, can you have dinner ready when I get home? You know?
Oh, because you think that, because I'm already there.
Because you're already there. It's like.
But it doesn't, but just because I'm already there doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not doing things while I'm there.
But I'm just saying, like, I, you know, was like out all day, like, maybe you can help out a little bit, you know, it's just like dinner.
Right. I never said I wouldn't ever help out. I just said that I don't know how to cook at all. I mean, the most things I can cook, probably the most fancy thing is I can make some good tacos. But I make pizza rolls and I'll cook
But the
cereal.
thing with that is, like, I'm willing to learn to cook. Ivan, he's not willing to learn. He thinks that it should just be my job, which, I mean, understandable. Like, yeah, it's like the norm for women to cook, be in the kitchen, whatever. He kind of grew up like that. But I think that maybe like at least once a week, cook up something. Not the tacos. Something different.
I could make the tacos once a week. They wouldn't get stale because we'd have them only one time per week. No. And that might be the way that has to go. Mm-mm. Because it might be the most beneficial for us, for me. That's the easiest thing. It's the only thing I know how to do. So, I mean, it might be the most beneficial for me. So, you know, speaking about gender norms, we can kind of get into another interesting thing, especially amongst our relationship, which is like who driving the car. I did speak with a friend, Tyler, about this, and his parents were actually asking him why he lets his girlfriend drive them around all the time, because she's the one who tends to drive. Go ahead.
So with that being said, I also am the one who tends to drive more.
Not generally. So
generally,
she will drive the short distances. So if we're going to the mall, if we're going to a movie, if we're going somewhere around town.
Yeah, if we're going around town, I am driving. But with that being said, that tends to lead to me driving most of the time, because very few times do we go long distance. Well, we do. It's not very few. I mean, we do like.
We go out on Pittsburgh and Cleveland trips and longer distance trips. And even like.
We do, but it's not like often. Like, I would say like once a month, maybe twice a month, we go to like a bigger city that's like an hour and a half away. So like he drives on those occasions, but like I drive any other day around town, which then leads to it being more because, like, you know, we're driving around town every day. We don't drive to like a bigger city every day.
Right. I'll drive the long distances. So, I mean, I have a lot of experience in different cities driving just from traveling, but I'll drive to Pittsburgh, Cleveland, anything over like 30 minutes, I'd say, I'm probably going to be the end one driving. And I don't think that that's bad to have you drive, or in our other friend's case, I don't think it's a bad thing that she drives over him. I think it's just comfortability thing at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, I don't really complain about driving. Like, if I don't want to drive, like, he would drive. But it's just like the fact that it's just more like convenient for me to drive. Like, I'm always parked at the end of the driveway. It's easier to just pull out. Like, sometimes he swaps between different cars. Like, and it's just more convenient and easier for me to drive. And I mean, like, I don't mind it. I feel like I like being in control of like the car when I'm in it. So
yeah, and another thing is whenever I can't ride in like the back seat of a car, else I'll get car sick. So as long as I'm in the front seat, I'm okay. Even if it's the driver or passenger, I'm usually okay. But the back seat, that always messes me up. I can't be sitting back there getting car sick every day, every time I'm with someone that I don't know. A lot of my friends, I perceive them as bad drivers, but maybe it's just because I'm in the back seat, or maybe they actually are bad drivers. But that's kind of what we thought about who's driving. So I don't know if you have any driving perspectives with your own girlfriend or boyfriend that you would like to talk about, or have any ideas. If you guys like to switch things up, maybe someone else drive once, or even for a date, maybe if someone were to pay once. I know girls aren't gonna like hearing this, but get the purse out, get the wallet out once in a while and pay for a date if you can. So that kind of leads us to the final point here is, ultimately, in the full relationship as a whole, who wears the pants? And Jordan kind of talked to me before we started recording this. She used this term, who wears the pants. So I want to know what she has to say about that.
I mean, ultimately, overall, I guess Ivan wears the pants, and if I don't say that, he'll probably be upset about it too.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna be upset about it, but
But I mean, I guess it does make sense in a lot of ways. I feel like he takes care of a lot of things in our relationship that I don't know how to take care of, or like, I mean, financially wise, like, I feel like he keeps track of everything. He has a lot of like ideas and stuff, so I feel like ultimately he kind of wears the pants. Like, I don't think I can like do all the stuff that he does.
I think it's a time thing too. Whenever we're getting together, a lot of the time it's at my house, so I'm more in command of what's going on in my own surroundings. Obviously, if I was at her house, it wouldn't be the same, because if something goes wrong in her house, I can't control anything about it because it's your house. So it kind of, being here forces me to have to take the lead a lot of the times in the relationship. But even outside of that, I do like to keep track of finances and keep track of our futures.
He's kind of he's like a big planner, I guess. I'm not so big of like a planner. I'm more just kind of like go with the flow. So he's like bigger on planning stuff. So I guess that's kind of why I'd say more he is like wearing the pants.
And I think that planning things is always the path to success in any aspect. And a plan could just be writing something down, as simple as that. I recently got a whiteboard in my office to plan things, because I have a huge plan for content creation, and I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly, and having it written down and laid out for me is a lot easier to visualize and actually tell that this plan can be put into place. And seeing it on the wall every day makes me think to myself that, this can happen as long as I follow these steps. But as far as a relationship goes, planning that is also important. So it could be as simple as writing things down in the relationship. Like, okay, I want to move out by this date. So what do we have to do to get to that? Do we have to save X amount of dollars to put a down payment down? Do we have to buy furniture, buy home insurance, think about all the other liabilities that go with that? And how are we going to do that with the, current economy we're in? It's a bit tough to get a house. So take into account all these factors and kind of plan out how you're going to tackle that goal is always important. I think planning is a big part of a relationship. I mean, in the long run, if you didn't plan something, how would you ever know where you're going to be? Mm-hmm. So, like I was saying the other day, we're making a new channel here, which is the Hots, and we're going to be having a lot of different content on here, such as vlogging, social media. And I finally was able to write all this down and kind of lay it out and map out who has what responsibilities for that channel. But we would have never known who did what had we not planned it out. And, things would be more sporadic without it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for watching or listening to Hot Topics with the Hots. We have a lot more coming for you guys. We're going to try to do these podcasts maybe like
every week.
Every week, every other week. I guess we'll see how our schedule works out with other videos.
Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. Check out our content, and we will see you on the next one.